It remains one of the most disturbing events in American history. More than 900 people, including 304 children, dead in a single night in a remote South American jungle at the command of their beloved leader. This is the story of Jonestown. Before the world had heard the name Jim Jones, he was just a boy growing up in Indiana, fascinated by religion and the power it held over people. In the years to come, he would use that fascination to collect followers from across the United States. Jones's early years as a minister saw him traveling alongside religious revivalists like William Branham and Joseph Matson Bowes. The energy of the latter rain movement helped Jones attract a community eager for healing and hope. In 1955, Jim Jones founded the People's Temple in Indianapolis. The congregation was distinctly different, fully integrated at a time of intense racial division. Jones preached equality, civil rights, and collective action, becoming a prominent activist in the process. But the seeds of control were there from the start. As followers grew to trust him more, it became common to turn over income and property to the temple. Jim Jones was not just their preacher, he became director of all aspects of their lives. By the mid-1960s, pressure began to mount. Rumors of abuse and Jones's growing claims of divinity unsettled outsiders. Fearing scrutiny, Jones moved the temple to California, planting a base in San Francisco where his political influence grew. It was in California that Jones's grip tightened. He rejected traditional Christianity, instead teaching a form of anti-capitalism he called apostolic socialism. To his followers, he wasn't simply a leader, he was a prophet promising protection from the world's evils. The temple grew into the thousands. Members gave up jobs, homes, and contacts outside the group. To many, Jones's authority became absolute. Reports of severe internal discipline and physical abuse began to leak out, but the community's isolation helped keep them in check. Jones's paranoia about outside criticism only escalated. Alarmed by negative publicity and persistent stories of abuse, he sought an escape, a new Eden where his power would be unchallenged. That vision became Jonestown, a commune carved from the jungle of Guyana starting in 1974. He convinced, sometimes compelled, followers to make the move. The appeal was utopian, freedom from racism and oppression, a socialist paradise away from the reach of the United States government. But the cost of admission was total loyalty. In Jonestown, communication with the outside world was minimal. Residents worked long hours, endured grueling living conditions, and were subject to constant surveillance. Dissenters faced public humiliation sessions and threats. Some were prevented from leaving. Jim Jones controlled all news and information in the commune. He presented himself as the only trustworthy source, feeding his followers a daily narrative of outside persecution, CIA plots, and the looming threat of attack. By 1978, the reality was far from paradise. Families in the U.S. pressed for answers about missing loved ones, and troubling reports surfaced that people were being held in Guyana against their will. Pressure for a government investigation intensified. That autumn, Congressman Leo Ryan decided to act. Known for hands-on investigations, from experiencing prison life to probing the CIA, Ryan believed in seeing injustice firsthand. He organized a fact-finding mission to Guyana, determined to find the truth about Jonestown. Accompanied by journalists, relatives, and concerned former temple members, Ryan arrived at Jonestown in mid-November. Initial appearances were deceptive, smiling faces, orchestrated tours, and repeated assurances of contentment. But beneath the surface, cracks showed. During the visit, some Jonestown residents managed to slip notes to the party, pleading for help to escape. Ryan realized the severity of the situation. These people felt trapped, and the danger was real. After negotiating, a few members were allowed to prepare for departure. Jones's stability crumbled as defections mounted. On November 18th, the situation exploded. As Congressman Ryan and the defectors boarded trucks to leave, tensions flared. At the nearby airstrip, as Ryan and his group attempted to board planes, armed temple members opened fire. Congressman Leo Ryan, several journalists and defectors were killed on the spot. This was the breaking point, a clear sign that Jonestown's isolation had turned deadly for anyone trying to leave. Back at the commune, Jim Jones gathered his followers. He framed the crisis as the end. Outside forces would surely invade, and all hope of their utopian dream was lost. Jones declared that death was preferable to defeat. There was no open debate. Many were coerced, threatened by armed guards, or forced to comply, especially children who were poisoned first. The scene was one of chaos and despair. Jones called it revolutionary suicide, borrowing a phrase from Huey P. Newton, but for most it was neither voluntary nor revolutionary. In the space of a few agonizing minutes, cyanide-laced flavor aid was distributed. The children went first. Some adults resisted, only to be injected with the poison. Armed loyalists enforced the order with deadly precision. By the time authorities arrived, 912 bodies lay sprawled across the compound, including over 300 children. Jim Jones was among the dead, his death officially ruled a self-inflicted gunshot. The world was stunned. The name Jonestown became synonymous with the dangers of cults and the power a charismatic leader can wield over vulnerable people. For families, the pain was indescribable. The loss of sons, daughters, friends and neighbors, many of whom believed they were building a better world until the very last hour. In the aftermath, questions lingered. How could so many have followed Jones to such a horrific end? Documents revealed elaborate systems of psychological control, manipulation, and intimidation, methods that slowly eroded the will to resist. Some survivors, like Larry Layton, were prosecuted for their roles, while the world debated whether Jonestown was murder, suicide, or something far more complicated. The story forced governments, religious groups, and mental health professionals to reconsider the warning signs of authoritarian groups. Today, Jonestown stands as a haunting lesson, a warning about the potential for darkness when trust, fear, and control converge. The answer to how Jim Jones convinced over 900 followers to drink poison lies in the slow, relentless build-up of dependency, isolation, and fear, woven step by step until the final, irreversible command.